Now, border and migration policy has become a very contentious issue for the past few years and is being exacerbated by the tensions between the Polish-Belarusian border. People are discussing the conflict between human rights and juggling the balance of national security. Anna Alboth, a journalist, media expert, and human rights defender, joining us today, and she's been the forefront of these discussions. Her work with a Minority Right Group International and her activism, including Nobel-nominated Civil March for Aleppo, offers a unique perspective of how Europe should approach foreign policy. So thanks for being with us on TV World.
Thank you for the invitation.
So recently, the Polish Prime Minister has announced Poland's asylum strategy or migration strategy, which has drawn a lot of ire from human rights groups, but we're also seeing some EU leaders starting to kind of echo his sentiment. What's your take on this?
I'm not very surprised about this kind of decision, strategic migration document, which was published last week. It's going aligned with what is happening in Europe since a long time. But as a human rights defender, as a person who works on the borders and also on the Polish-Belarusian border, I worry because the document that was being published, from my perspective, it's 36 pages of information why Polish people should be afraid of migration and migrants. I think it's a very dangerous way of seeing it.
All right. Some people said, though, however, even though human rights is a very important issue, we can't really disregard that. National security and situation at the border, which we do see that Russia, Belarus using it to conduct their hybrid warfare, might bring danger through the border. How do we juggle the balance between making sure that human rights are taken care of while not posing a threat to national security?
I very much believe in security of Poland and European Union. Poland is at the front line of European Union in these terms. So I understand that we have to stay safe. I just don't think that what is happening on the Polish-Belarusian border is protecting us from being safe. Since 3 years, we have thousands of people crossing this border. Poland very fast in the beginning of the humanitarian crisis introduced pushbacks. Pushback is contradiction to security. Pushback means that a person trying to cross Poland will be pushed to the Belarusian side and will try again and again and again until this person will cross. I met hundreds, if not thousands of people in the forest on the Polish-Belarusian border, and I know reality very well. There is a lot of people who died on this border, and those are the ones who didn't cross, who didn't make it. All the rest made it. So I think if we want to talk about security, we should be checking people crossing to Poland, crossing European Union border. That's the only way of checking who are the people, of reacting towards if they have a right for international protection, if they should stay in Poland, if they should be deported, if they should be arrested. We hear a lot of gossips that there is a lot of dangerous people crossing. I don't understand. I'm not an expert on security, but I don't understand why Poland wouldn't try to catch those dangerous people, why they shouldn't check them, why the intelligence shouldn't check them. Maybe that would give us, as Poland and European Union, information about the East, about Belarus, about Russia. I also think it could be a very good argument in diplomatic discussions with the East. Let's imagine that Polish security managed to catch important, dangerous people. That could be possible, potential exchange of prisoners, for example, in the future. I don't think that Polish soldiers or Polish border guards know who is on this border because they don't check those people before throwing them to the other side.
All right. So like you mentioned, a lot of these people being pushed back at the border will just make another attempt at crossing until they do. But isn't that an argument to strengthen the border security to make sure they don't get through instead of saying that we don't push them back?
Well, if we close this border completely, if nobody can cross because, I don't know, we are shooting to people, for example, yes, they will be not dying on the Polish side, but they will be dying on the other side. As activists, as human rights defenders, we have contacts with hundreds of people on the Belarusian side, with hundreds of people who are there since months, and they are trying to cross. In some point they cross, and if not, we are losing contact with them. I understand that the migration route was artificially started by Lukashenko and Putin. Yes, I'm absolutely aware of it. But what is happening on the Polish side, behind the border, this is our responsibility. And it's our responsibility how we answer to this. What Donald Tusk announced now with the migration plan was to stop the asylum procedures. This is already happening since 3 years. There is almost nobody who can apply for international protection in this forest. This is not a solution. This didn't stop Lukashenko. This didn't stop migration route. People know how difficult it is to apply for asylum, and they still come because they have no choice. I don't think this is a solution to stop this route.
Right, and well, the Polish president, Andrzej Duda, has said that perhaps shutting down the border or refusing asylum completely will bar some of the Belarusian dissidents of the Lukashenko regime who is trying to, well, being politically prosecuted. Do you also echo that sentiment?
Poland and European Union since long time see that Lukashenko doesn't listen. Yes, what Lukashenko did a few years ago was completely destroying the opposition, arresting or killing a lot of people. So many political prisoners came to Poland. He was able to stop the planes and kidnap people. He is doing what he wants. And I hear a lot of voices that Lukashenko and Putin want to destroy European values by starting this artificial route. But we are letting him do that. We are letting him destroy human rights. I believe that the answer could be different, that we could act according to law, Polish law, international law, Geneva Convention. Maybe this would surprise him if we actually do what we are supposed to do according to law.
Right, and when it comes to the number of migrants coming in, Poland already received millions of Ukrainian refugees, and now we're seeing also from various border crossings people from Sub-Saharan Africa, the Middle East. Is there a number to which we say, okay, at this point, perhaps Poland have enough of full capacity, or do you think that with the humanitarian concerns in mind, it'd be more appropriate for Poland to first receive them and try to distribute it somehow throughout the European Union?
We received a lot of Ukrainian refugees in the last 2 years, and Poland survived. Poland didn't collapse by hosting so many people. Even more, I think Poland is very proud about our hospitality and the answer of civil society. Numbers of people crossing on the Belarusian border are tiny in compared to Ukrainian border. We have capacity. It's our choice if we are putting money in building another layer of barbed wire, which is hurting people, or we are investing in asylum procedures, reception centers, and integration.
And of course, as active human rights activists, can you help us understand what role can some civil society do and grassroots organizations can they play in addressing this migration crisis that the government perhaps cannot?
Well, I work in human rights for almost 20 years, and I didn't know that I will be forced to physically put backpack on my back and go to the forest to give people food and water that they can survive. I think this is not a role of civil society. When people, any people, not only citizens of Poland, are starving to death, are sick and need hospital help, this is responsibility of this country to react. We've seen hundreds of people in this forest. Grupa Granica collective, which I'm representing, had contact with more than 20,000 people within these 3 years. We managed to get to more than 10,000 people with humanitarian, legal, and medical aid. This is not our role. And it's not only that we don't have support in this. Help on the border is being criminalized. We have problems. We are getting fines for being there in the forest. There are court cases now against people who were bringing water and food to the to the people who are dying. I call it for myself policy of letting people die. Yes, Poland is not actively killing anybody there, but we are letting them die. And I think this is horrible that it's happening in 21st century in European Union.
All right, thank you so much for your perspective. Really appreciate it. And thanks for your input and insight. Thanks for being with us on TVP World.
Thank you.
Cheers. And thank you for watching this edition of World Talks. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.